Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder. Picking it up from where we left off yesterday with the Mega Gardevoir team, which I've really been enjoying. This weekend, of course, has been a crucial member to the team as well, with a rating of 1843, so we're only 57 points away from 1900 now. However, first place in America and in the world once again belongs to Paul Chua with a rating of 1950, so we still have a long way to go if we want to catch up to him, but this team has been really fun, and I've managed to pick up a pretty decent win streak, so we'll see whether it continues or not in today's episode. Also, I uploaded a stream highlight from last night's stream. It was a really good game. It's pretty short, only 8 minutes long, so watch that if you haven't already, because I thought it was really exciting, and the finish of that was pretty crazy. So yeah, I have been mentioning my stream more and more, and that is because I am planning on streaming more on Twitch. If you don't follow me, give me a follow at twitch.tv/CybertronVGC. I applied for partnership and am waiting to hear back from them, and hopefully I'll be streaming more. But to everyone who's been coming out to those, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. It's taking a while to find our first opponent of the day here, but yeah, just general things about the team. I think Mega Gardevoir is actually really interesting. Someone asked me why I ran Icy Wind on it over something like Shadow Ball, and that's just because I play really well with speed control, so having another means of speed control is really nice. I actually realized there are like 4 Pokemon on this team that can control the speed, with Suicune with Icy Wind, Suicune with Tailwind, Zapdos with Thunder Wave, Gengar with Icy Wind, and Gardevoir with Icy Wind. So maybe it's a bit unnecessary, but I figure it's alright, as Cat with a rating of 1482 from Georgia is going to be our first opponent of the day. That's a really low rating given how high mine is currently, but that's kind of how the match pairing system works. It normally tries to find an opponent in your range, but if you can't, then it will look for the next available opponent. So clearly not that many people online right now, but Cat here's got a team of Smeargle, Manectric, Gliscor, Vileplume, Crobat, and Lantern. Don't really know what to expect in general, but the Smeargle's definitely annoying, so I'm going to lead with Terrakion just because I'm Lumburied, so I can take a Dark Void even if it's Choice Scarfed. So I'm going to go with Smeargle, and next to it, I think I'm going to pair it up with Gengar, which can freely Icy Wind. Suicune's actually not too great in this match, so I might be keeping it out. Gengar, I like Heatran in the back and Gardevoir as the last one. That's pretty solid. Yeah, I'm just going to lock in here. Of course, I don't want to lose this battle, because if I do, I'm going to end up losing like 30 points on the ladder, so I'm going to have to play carefully even though my opponent is lower rated, and it tends to be like the lower rated opponents that can catch you off guard often because they have these weird or unorthodox Pokemon that you're actually not used to, so this should be interesting. So I'm going to go with Terrakion Gengar as my opponent leads with Manectric and Smeargle. That's alright with me here. I'm wondering what item this Smeargle has, whether it's a Focus Sash or a Scarf, so I'm going to double kick right into it. If it's Scarf, then it's going to get a Dark Void off, but Terrakion has the Lumberry like I mentioned, so I'll be able to KO it. And if it's Sash, then I'll just be able to outspeed and KO it. And I'm going to Icy Wind here in case the Smeargle decides to use a protecting move here. But no Fake Out, no Protects, no Mega Evolution from Manectric. What is going on right now? As my opponent allows me to just get an Icy Wind off here. Okay. Not what I was expecting, but I'll take that. I lowered the Manectric speed, it didn't get an Intimidate off, and it stayed in normal form. So, okay. As Manectric goes straight for the Thunder outside of Rain, obviously its accuracy is pretty poor, but it does connect with Gengar. Pretty nice animation there and gets the Paralysis as well, but Gengar's still able to hang on with 45 HP. So, obviously not the most competitive team here. But I'm glad I got rid of the Smeargle, just because Smeargle is very annoying to deal with, as Lantern comes out for my opponent here. What I'm going to do here is Protect and go for a Sludge Bomb into the Lantern. I don't mind losing Gengar here because I want to free switch into the Gardevoir I have in the back. And this Gengar's really done its job. Paralysis was unfortunate, but, I'm not going to complain, especially since the probability of paralyzing with Thunder is actually relatively high, but man, if you are using Thunder, I highly advise you not to use it outside of range, just because its accuracy is so darn poor. As Lantern goes for the dive, what is going on right now? Gonna be able to hide underwater as Manectric goes for the discharge. Oh my god, these are some next level strategies right now. That's gonna knock out my Gengar most likely, yeah. So 3-3, and that the Lantern has dived or dove. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna bring out Gardevoir here, as I actually trace Volt Absorb, which is nice. Let's see. I might actually switch out into Heatran here. It's fine, actually. Actually, yeah, I'd rather have Terrakion to deal with a Lantern than a Heatran, so I'll switch out, and I'll just Hyper Voice. This is quite the battle, guys. I'm sorry, it's not the most competitive battle, but at this rate in Road to Ranked, I just want to feature all the games regardless of how competitive they are, since we are on the climb to 1900 at this rate. So I'm going to switch out to Heatran because, like I said, I'd rather have Terrakion in the late game to deal with the Lantern, just because Lantern is actually a pretty bulky Pokemon. But Gardevoir here is going to be able to outspeed both Pokemon, especially the Manectric because of the -1, and it does take out the Manectric with the Hyper Voice. So I guess my opponent just doesn't even have a Mega Evolution, as Lantern goes for the dive onto Heatran. Not doing much damage at all, even with that super effective damage. As Heatran's going to heal a bit back from those leftovers. So let's see what comes back in. Now I am up 3-2, and I mean, my opponent has a Lantern. Now Lantern actually has viability in VGC because it gets access to Soak, which is a really interesting move, turning Pokemon into water types. So Soak actually works nicely with you know, Manectric Lantern's actually a viable combo, but my opponent here doesn't really have the actual like VGC set here, as obviously, you know, Dive thundering outside of Rain, just not the most competitive team, but it's fine, as I'm gonna get a Hyper Voice and a Heat Wave off here. That should knock out Vileplume. Oh, it actually doesn't. Both Pokemon able to hang on with the bit, as Lantern goes for the Surf here. This Lantern's got all the moves. Doesn't knock out his own Vileplume, doesn't knock out either of my Pokemon though, as a Vileplume gets the Sleep Powder off, but all I have to do is Heat Wave this next turn and it's going to be a win. So very quick first game today, as we see a Sleep Powder going up into the Gardevoir. Man, this is like not the kind of team you expect to play when your rating is like 1800 plus, but like I said, the ladder tends to match you with players who are available as opposed to making sure it finds you an opponent around your rating. So sometimes you do end up getting paired with those really low rated players despite being up high. We saw it took like forever to even find that first game. So Gardevoir's going to take a turn of sleep here, but Heat Wave here should be able to seal up the game. I mean, my opponent doesn't even have a way to beat Gardevoir or Terrakion really, so it's going to be game 3-0 against a very interesting team. Once again, not the most competitive VGC team. Vileplume's a Pokemon that I've never seen used in VGC before, and it really doesn't have that much viability. Smeargle's always scary to go up against. Crobat was interesting. I thought Crobat could have caused some trouble. Should it have been able to set up a Tailwind? But we're just going to take a quick game 1 win here in today's episode. That's probably only going to give us like 2 or 3 points on the ladder, which is unfortunate, but I'll take it. Hopefully we can find a higher rated opponent for the second match of the day, but good game there, and we move on. But like I said, you know, against teams that are surprising, you know, when you see these Pokemon you don't really know how to deal with, you just should play safe, because it's very easy to get overconfident and think you're going to win a match just because your opponent's using Pokemon you haven't seen before, so you should still assume the worst and play to the best of your ability. And yeah, that gave us like 3 points on the ladder, but if we win this next one, hopefully we can jump to 1850 plus, which would be pretty neat, as we are currently sitting at 1844 with a record of 46-16. So gonna look for the second opponent of the day after a pretty quick first game win. I do have to apologize to you guys once again. I try to feature the most competitive battles on this, but Conan with the rating of 1826 is going to be our second opponent of the day. He's actually a very competitive VGC player. I'm assuming this is him. Qualified for the World Championships last year. He qualified through Japan's nationals, but I think he lives in America now. He was a senior last year, now he's a master, and he's doing really well in the Masters division, so this should be exciting, and I do assume it's him. Obviously, you saw his rating there was very high as well. He's got a team of Thundurus, Salmon, Sylveon, Terrakion, Swampert, and Bisharp. So the Swampert definitely sticks out to me the most because I don't think it's Mega Swampert. It might actually just be a support Swampert. Swampert does get access to moves like Wide Guard, which is super helpful, and it is pretty bulky. And as you see, my team doesn't have any Grass-type Pokemon or attack, so knocking it out might be quite difficult. Now, my Gardevoir here is actually really good if I am able to set up a Tailwind, so I think that's the strategy I'm going to be going for. Suicune's actually really solid here too against my opponent's entire team, bar the Thundurus. So I'm going to lead with Suicune, and I think I want to go with, this is actually interesting. I'm not sure who I want to pair it up with. Gengar's tempting. Gengar's definitely tempting. All my Pokemon, like, do decently against the Thundurus, but the real question, I feel like Conan here is going to lead with Thundurus, but the question is who he pairs it up with. I feel like Gengar Suicune just gives me the most options, so I'm going to go with that. Gardevoir in the back, for sure. And for the last one, This is kind of tough. I want Terrakion because it can beat most of his team. But it's not as bulky and it can get KO'd easily. Heatran's not bad here because of how nicely it walls the Bisharp and the Sylveon. Probably not going to want that. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Terrakion. Yeah, tough call here, but I decided to choose Terrakion. This should be an interesting match for sure. Conan's got a really cool team. And I am curious to see whether the Swampert comes out or not, but I honestly am expecting it to come out given that it matches with my team pretty darn well. So let's see. So I'm going to go with Suicune and Gengar, which is a relatively safe lead here, but I expect Thundurus to come out here. And we see Sylveon and Swampert. Okay, that's actually even better for me. That's a really pretty Sylveon right there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go straight for the Tailwind with Suicune, obviously. As my pressure exerts there. Because, like I said, I do have the Gardevoir in the back, and Mega Gardevoir really does well against this team. So I'm going to Tailwind, and I'm just going to Sludge Bomb Sylveon here. It might protect, or it might switch out, but honestly, getting the damage off would be nice regardless. I definitely think I have the lead advantage here. I really thought Thundurus might have been coming out, but this actually works out really nicely because I'm already pretty bulky with that Swampert, and he doesn't protect here, so that's really good. I do just get a free Sludge Bomb onto the Sylveon. Does a whole lot of amount of damage there. And Suicune gets the Tailwind up, setting up Mega Gardevoir in the back, so that's an ideal first turn as neither of Conan's Pokemon switched out. We do see the Sylveon going for a Hyper Voice. Let's see if it's Specs or not. Looks like it. Oh, it's actually a crit on Gengar, so maybe not. As Swampert actually goes for a Hydro Pump. Wow, special Swampert coming out. That should knock me out, as it does. That was interesting, not the attack I was expecting from Swampert there, but that's cool to see. I'm going to bring out Gardevoir now. And I am scared of the... Let's see, first of all, I traced Torrent, which doesn't help me. Neither of the attacks would have helped, though. I am scared of a potential Wide Guard, so I'm going to Snarl here. I'm going to Mega Evolve, and I'm actually going to Psychic the Sylveon in anticipation that the Swampert might have Wide Guard. Actually, no, what I should have done is I should have Psychic the Swampert and Scalded the Sylveon instead. Yeah. But that was definitely a very interesting first turn coming out from Conan's end. Hydro Pump Swampert in itself is pretty interesting. I was almost going to Will-O-Wisp Swampert, but I guess now it confirms that it's a special variant, though it might also carry Earthquake, which might give me some trouble here. But Suicune at least hangs on with still over 107 HP, and its Citrus Berry has yet to be taken down, which is nice. So I do have 3 turns of Tailwind to take advantage of right now. Conan's not going to switch out, so I'm pretty much guaranteed a knockout, I assume, here onto the Sylveon. But let's see what he goes for. I'm also curious whether the Swampert has Wide Guard or not. It doesn't go for a Wide Guard, so at least I got a Snarl off, and Psychic knocks me out. But then now, I feel like, oh, maybe I should have just gone for a Hyper Voice and Snarl. Or Hyper Voice, Scald. But at least I'm going to decrease its special attack here. That is going to decrease its offensive potential. As it does... Oh, it goes for an Earth Power. Okay. So yeah, it is a special Swampert. Let's see how much it does to Gardevoir. It barely does anything, actually. That Snarl was really helpful, and my Gardevoir is pretty bulky in itself. So I'm really happy how nicely Gardevoir took that attack. As Thundurus is going to come in here. That is the one Pokemon I was really afraid of. It's probably going to Thunder Wave me here. So I'm just going to Ice Beam it and Hyper Voice. I really want to knock this out immediately. At this point, I just hope I don't get fully paralyzed. Oh, but there is the Wide Guard that I was anticipating the last turn, so maybe I should have doubled up into it with a Psychic. We do see the T-Wave coming out here, probably onto the Gardevoir, yeah. Excellent move on Conan's end this turn. But regardless, I do get the free Ice Beam. Unfortunately, Hyper Voice is not going to do anything there, so excellent Wide Guard coming out from Swampert there. As Suicune at least gets the Ice Beam off, and that is going to be a super effective hit there. But that Thundurus, as you see, is pretty darn bulky. So I feel like we're going to see another Wide Guard coming out, so I should predict that. What I'm going to do is... Swampert is definitely the bigger threat right now. I feel like Conan's last one's going to be Mega Mence, which I'm kind of worried about right now. So you know what? I'm actually going to... this is tough. Because I don't want to give Conan a free switch into the Mence in the back. I could also switch out into Terrakion. Or I could Ice Beam the Thundurus and Psychic here. Yeah, you know what? That's actually fine. He's probably going to T-Bolt my Suicune here. So I'll let him knock it out. But he didn't go for the wide guard, so I should have hyper voiced there. So predicting wide guards is often very frustrating, as Citrus does come out from that Thundurus. However, now I can Rock Slide it for a KO this next turn with my Terrakion in the back, as he does take out my Suicune there with a T-Bolt. So let's see what perk goes for here. Probably Earth Power. Oh, a Hydro Pump. It does connect here. Hydro Pump's accuracy, of course, not the finest, but Gardevoir able to eat that up. Fortunately enough, does get the Psychic off. I don't expect this to KO, but let's see how much it does. Yeah, Swampert eats that pretty well, as Tailwind does peter out, but I do get a free switch into a Terrakion here. I'm actually going to Close Combat and Psychic, because I think he's going to Wide Guard here. Even if he doesn't, I don't think that Swampert has Protect. I mean, we've seen Earth Power, Hydro Pump, Wide Guard. Maybe it does carry Protect, but if it does, then I'm fine, because Terrakion, like I said, has that Lumberry, so I don't mind if Thundurus goes for the T-Wave right now to Terrakion. This is a scary endgame, though, because I feel like he's going to have Mega Ments in the back, and that is a very difficult Pokemon to deal with if it's a physical variant, because he can just Double Edge for KOs. So this is coming down to the wire. I'm really hoping I can pick 2 knockouts here on 2 turns, because if Conan manages to have 2 Pokemon out, one being Mega Ments, then I feel like I'm going to lose this one. But this is coming down to the wire here. But let's see. I also am curious as to what item the Swampert has. Obviously, Thundurus had Citrus Berry, so it might be something like a Rocky Helmet or even Expert Belt, which I know Angel Miranda ran when he ran Swampert at the Premier Challenge in Pennsylvania a while back. We do see a Wide Guard come out here, so I'm glad I predicted that. This is perfectly fine with me, as we do... Oh, no. Oh, a Swagger going into the Gardevoir there. Instant Terrakion would have been nice. As Close Combat does pick up a KO here, I really, really hope Gardevoir is not fully paralyzed this turn. I really needed to get an attack off here. Like I said, I'm trying to set up the 2-on-1 battle, and it gets the Psychic off. Very nice. That should KO Thundurus. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't! Wow. So, I'm not running full special attack investment here. Oh, wow, Terrakion is the last one for Conan. Huh. This just got very interesting. Now, unfortunately, you know that I'm not carrying Focus Sash on my Terrakion, so if I just lose a Speed Tie, I might outright lose. Right now, I really want to just Hyper Voice and Rock Slide. This is a really tough matchup to be in. Let's see, Thundurus tends to not carry Protect, so by going for a Rock Slide, it's saying if I do win the Speed Tie, then I just KO. I mean, if it's Sash Terrakion, this match is going to be very difficult. So you know what, I think I'm just going to Rock Slide, and I'm going to... I could also Protect Hyper Voice, but he might just Rock Slide with his Terrakion. Though I feel like he's going to Close Combat, so maybe I should Protect Hyper Voice. But you know what? I'm going to Rock Slide Hyper Voice. It's going to come down to this turn. We do see another Swagger coming out onto my Gardevoir here. So let's see what his Terrakion went for. I would assume Close Combat. Yeah, and unfortunately he wins the Speed Tie there, so maybe I should have protected, but we'll see whether it is Sash Terrakion or not. Or first of all, we'll see whether Gardevoir can attack through this Paralysis / Swagger. I'm really hoping it can, but moment of truth. I'm assuming Sash Terrakion, though. And it gets the Hyper Voice off. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's not Sash Terrakion. It was probably Lumburied. I'm going to end up winning that game. Wow, what a close game. Very good game there. Mega Gardevoir came through in the end there and was able to attack through the Paralysis and the Swagger. So, very great game to Conan there. Very cool team as well. The Swampert itself gave me a lot of trouble. And the Wide Guard was very smart, as he didn't reveal it when he had the Sylveon up, and then he revealed it the next turn. So that was a really fun game, and obviously you saw his rating was really high. So thanks to him for the game, and man, that last turn obviously was going to go one way or another. If I was hit by the Paralysis or the Confusion, I would have lost, because he could have just T-Boat Rock Slided me the following turn. So it was basically, it came down to that. Of course, I ended up losing the Speed Tide there, which, I mean, it was, at this point, it was like, it was all going to come down to rolls, because you knew it was going to rely on Swagger / Thunder Wave / who won the Speed Tie / whether Rock Slide would flinch. So those games are always the most tense when it comes down to sheer numbers in the end, but it was a very fun game thanks to him. After this, we should probably be around 1855 to 60, which is really exciting. So that 1900 goal is relatively close now. So not a very competitive first game, but a very nice second game in today's episode. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, like always, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, peace.